Disclaimer. The Joe Mobley Show aims to be suitable for all viewers. However, mature topics are discussed. Minors should always obtain a parent's permission before viewing. Families are encouraged to watch together and engage in meaningful follow-up conversations. While the content provided is for informational and entertainment purposes only, it is not intended as professional advice or services. This show does not constitute medical, legal, financial, relationship, or other professional advice. If you require assistance in any of those areas, please consult with a qualified professional. Some viewers might find information, opinions, and terminology used offensive. The Joe Mobley Show is not intended to offend, but rather to inform and entertain. We do not seek to intentionally offend. However, we do scrutinize various events, ideologies, and opinions through a particular worldview. The thoughts, opinions, and beliefs of any host, personality, or guest of the show are solely representative of the individual espousing them and do not represent the Joe Mobley Show or any other individual, organization, company, or group. No one is making you watch or listen. So, there's that.
Welcome back to the Joe Mobley Show. Guys, no monologue today because I had a Zoom call just recently ended and couldn't launch show date. Anyway, we are going to skip through the monologue and skip through my bloviating and get to the good part, which is, as you know, when Outspoken Samantha is up. Samantha, how are you? It's two of you. Oh my gosh, what the WT heck, people. That's what we say here. Let's change this one to me. Because why not? Is your audio coming through? Am I crazy? Say something. Oh, yeah, I can't hear you. Let's see. Death. I think you're good on my end. Oh man, you are zoomed in. Oh, I just heard channel and then nothing. No, not hearing anything. Not hearing anything. Here, let me try this other channel and see. Why why is it doing? Oh gosh, this is, well, I guess the software's on R word mode tonight. Interesting. Yeah, is this going to be, this is two of me, none of you. Anything? I would maybe plug it or unplug and replug your mic, see if that works. That's so weird. I hear it for like just a set, like I hear like, do you guys hear that? Am I crazy? Joe is bugged, guys. Joe went for the Adamant says I went for the ultimate transition. Yes, that would, yes, me, a large black man turning into a smaller white woman would be the ultimate transition. I don't know what's going on. All of my tech stuff is like completely on the fritz. Like this, my software crashed like 3 times coming up. One of my screens was down. I have no idea. Yeah, I still can't hear you. You're unmuted. Let's see. What? Yeah, when I unmute the channel, I hear just like that. That's so weird. You can't hear me? Oh, lordy. What did Trump allegedly say? Can you guys hear? Can get a thumbs up in the chat if you hear the words coming out of my mouth. Seriously, Shelby says she's muted. She's not muted. Tell her to hop down and request back in. Dearden 2007. Where do I know this? Do I know you? This name sounds so familiar. Whoa, what the heck was that? Did you hear that? Here, let me change my audio channels here. Out and then back in, see if anything happens. Oh, that was Discord. Guys, how do you mute Discord? Can someone teach me how to do that? Because that would be great. I'm just going to have to close it for now. Death. Yeah, do you want to pop out and pop back in? See if that magically solves anything. All right. So what did Trump say now? We'll get there. We'll get into the stories. We never get to all the stories, but here's what they are. Guys, Dave Ramsey is apparently becoming more and more political, which is funny because he usually says, if you talk to me for 10 minutes, I mention Dave Ramsey. But he says he kind of stays out of politics, but he's been getting more and more political. I think that's kind of funny. We're going to be talking about how real Trump derangement syndrome is. The people who have TDS are some of the funniest people out there on the internet. But the thing that's not so funny is these people exist in real life, which is kind of wild. Also going to be talking about the libs going crazy over Trump's performance at the Al Smith dinner in New York City last week. This seems like eons ago. It was just last Friday, guys. It was just last Friday. Still news. We can still talk about it. And personally, I just want to watch the clips because the clips are freaking hilarious. People are saying that Trump needs a stand-up special after that performance. I don't think it was that funny, but it was still pretty funny. Guys, the Biden-Harris administration is gaslighting Americans. How are they doing it? I'm so glad that you asked. They're doing it by sending illegals to Arizona and Texas. But for what purpose? Why are they sending illegals to Arizona and Texas? They're doing it so that it appears like there isn't a border crisis. That's why they're doing it. So that's what we're talking about. And maybe Samantha will be, let's see.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you. I thought this was like a weird, like, ECAM just went all patriarchy and was like, women are not speaking on the show anymore. Yeah, we're not that hardcore. Well,
Yeah,
how are you?
It's fine.
How are you?
Oh, I was just like, please tell me it's still working.
It's still working, for better or worse.
Oh my goodness. All right, let me just fix my camera here. I'm good. I know that we were texting about it earlier, but I am a little bit like just wondering about all of these shakedowns, all of this shakeup going on in conservative media. It just seems like one after the other this year. And I would just like conservatives to keep their crap together for the next few weeks. No more surprises, no more firing hosts, and I don't know. It just feels like there's a lot going on.
I feel that. We didn't put this in the story planner, which you guys can't see in the story planner, in the show planner. But I did put here, let me see if it's high enough up on the tweets that I can actually find it. Oh, well, I guess the deal has been struck. So this is, Jeremy from the Quartering says, screw it. You still owe me 20 member deals, but welcoming Hannah Claire Bremelo aboard, which is, we will just add this as a story because I know you've got thoughts about Hannah Claire, which Jeremy, you don't watch my show, but on the off chance, Jeremy knows Casey Gates, friend of the show, out there in California. Hope you're doing well, brother. One, she goes by Hannah Claire. Like, her name's Hannah Claire. So if you keep calling her Hannah, she's going to have some issues with that. But she just doesn't seem that is way too zoomed in. She doesn't seem the quartering type. She definitely seems a little bit, she seems more well-spoken. She's articulate. She just doesn't seem like the vibe of their host. But geez Louise, Joe. All right, let's see if I can find the tweet here. I tweet too much. I bet Here it is. Yes. So my totally unsubstantiated conspiracy theory, man, watching the Twitter thing scroll is kind of dizzying on the screen. I apologize, guys, that I just saw that. It freaking sucked. If you guys didn't hear, last week or earlier this week, I don't know what day it is, but today is my Friday night because I don't have to work tomorrow. So I do have the very last of my, smoked honey bourbon? No, smoked honey rye from Catoctin Creek. This is it. Adam, this is it. What am I going to do after this? I have to get some more. But sometime in the last, we'll say this week, apparently, Blonde from the Matt and Blonde show, she just quit cold turkey, like out of the blue, just up and quit her association with Matt Christensen, who, if you guys don't know, like I have been completely upfront about this, but I haven't spoken about it for like years at this point. I modeled my show out after their show, like complete with like searching out for a female companion's the wrong word. What is the word for you?
Co-host?
Yeah, there we go. Female co-host. Yeah, but that was like, whoops. That was like straight up modeled after, the Matt and Blonde show with Matt Christensen. Wow, they have IMDb? What the this seems so much more legit. That's not what I wanted. I just wanted that image. But like I literally like fashioned this show after Matt Christensen's show. Matt's a great creator. Had him on. We'll have him on again. He's just, with the Tenet Media thing and almost being hauled off in the prison as a Russian asset, but then finding out that was a hoax and all of that stuff. And now his 8-year, almost 9-year long co-host has quit. So he's kind of going through it. And then the day after this, Tim Pool is like, I'm quitting Timcast IRL. Everyone's incompetent and my employees suck at their jobs, which is kind of a reflection of the leadership, Tim. I got to say, there's no successful business. No, there's no failed business that legitimately says we failed because my employees suck. It's like, no, dude, it's because you suck. That's not how business works. If your employees suck, if they can't do their jobs, and your janitor, your maintenance guy, Raymond Stanley Jr. or whatever, he called it out completely. He was like, no, this is the workforce is a reflection of the leadership. You're not, and he said the words, you're not motivating them properly. Like, yes, that's the answer, right. Tim. Anyway, I've got my conspiracy theory. But why do you think that right-wing creators are dropping like flies, like right now?
I don't know. Well, and I don't know if anybody has really been paying attention because we are in the business of obsessing about these things. So we're probably paying a little more attention than most people. Watching Tim Pool this week, he kind of went on and on for like 2 hours about potentially quitting his podcast. And it was a little hard to listen to because his entire complaint was like, we've been too successful. We have too much money. We have too many employees. We're too popular. I don't know how to manage this. Oh my gosh. And I was just like, shut up. So, it was an interesting conversation to listen to. I expected the reasoning to potentially quit to be much more dire than having too much success, but whatever. We all have our battles that we're asked to face. So he had that show. He tweeted out this might be the last show, and then that day, maybe the next day, I don't know, he found out that they had fired Hannah Claire because she just tweeted out, well, anybody looking for a co-host on a podcast? So that happened. And then, of course, Tim continued on with his show. He had his little meltdown and he was totally fine. And I don't think anybody really expected him to completely stop what he was doing. And then following that, we see this incident with Matt Christensen on the Matt and Blonde show on his channel, also a fairly successful channel. And he just goes on one day and says, yeah, my co-host of almost a decade has just decided to quit. And it's just like,
it sucks.
what is going on with people? So Joe and I were texting back and forth about it. And Matt's issue was he felt that Blonde, or Rebecca as her name is, wasn't putting in enough effort. So I know myself, I like to set the bar really low for, for, for what we do here, so that, that's never an issue. That's never a problem here. I put in as little effort as possible. Just kidding. I try. But as far as like all of this stuff going on, I mean, we saw the stuff earlier, probably about a year ago with Steven Crowder. We saw stuff with Candace Owens and Daily Wire, and then we saw the stuff with Tenet Media. And I'm like, okay, so for as chaotic as the left is, like, we're the ones that seem to be having all of these problems with our media people, which I think are more, we need people in this space more now than ever. And everybody just seems to be like losing their crap and dropping like flies. And I don't know if the stress is getting to people. I don't know if people are just like, you know what, if the world is going to come to an end, then I really just need to cut my losses and spend these final days with the people that I love. I have no idea, but I would like some answers. And I know you've had some theories about it. So what are your theories? Why is everybody losing their crap right now?
And Jason over on Facebook says, unfortunately, this is what happens when you hire friends and family and don't have a number two who can't handle questions and delegate. If it's a pure business thing, I completely agree with Jason. You can't just hire all of your hipster, pot smoking, sleeping all day friends, not hold them accountable, and expect that you're going to build a thriving business empire. He said two things, exactly what Samantha said. We make so much money. We're pouring money into projects, so many projects, and they're just too many to count, too many to name, and they all fail. And I'm like, bro. Yeah, so why Tim Pool is observing that it seems like Timcast News, whatever, is failing is a whole other conversation. But why people are throwing in the towel, I have to wonder. And honestly, am I anywhere near a Matt Christensen, Jeremy from the Quartering, Tim Pool? No. But over the last month, I've thought a ton. I've spoken with some of you about that. And my wife and I have been talking a lot about, like, should I just give this up and just get all that time back and do other things with my time and pursue other things? Once upon a time, I really wanted to get a PhD, but now I'm almost ashamed to have a master's degree. So I think unless something radically changes, that's just kind of permanently in the parking lot. But then seeing just boom, Rebecca just quits out of nowhere. And then like a day later, Tim Pool's like, I think I'm just going to throw my hands up. I have to wonder, no evidence at all other than just seeing this proliferate throughout social media. I have to wonder if there's some kind of psyop being played on right-wing creators, because we all know ahead of the 2020 election, they shadow banned, and then they outright banned, and then they permanently banned a number of right-wing creators, myself included. That was 2020, 2021. That was like the time if you just typed Joe into Google, Joe Rogan would show up, and then maybe another famous Joe. I'd be like number 3. That was the time, and YouTube axed me, which is just overt. But I have to wonder if we're seeing people who are just big creators, been in the space for a long time, and they're just outright quitting, just knowing a little bit about the space. I have to wonder if it's some type of information warfare operation. And oftentimes when you run these types of campaigns, there needs to be something that you can observe in the natural environment that tells you if your thing is failing or not. Famous example is the special forces telling ghost stories in, was that Vietnam or Korea? I think it was Vietnam. And then the locals, like, you can verify, hey, the locals are telling these crazy ghost stories. They're afraid to go to these places. They're really critical transportation routes for the American military, but it's shrouded in secrecy and folklore now. And so that was like a proof that they could see when they went out into the towns. Well, when I turn on Twitter and I see all of my favorite creators are quitting, like, that's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to think of it. Um, I mean, I, un- I can't make any sense of it. I mean, but I understand the sentiment. It's like, do I keep going? Do we keep doing this? I mean, because it's fun. I thoroughly enjoy doing it. But contrary to what some of you might believe, Joe and I are not rolling in the cash in this. This is definitely out of the goodness of our hearts. It's something that we just enjoy doing, which I don't mind at all. But especially with all of the censorship efforts, it does get frustrating at times when it's like, I put out something that I think is beneficial and it's like, oh, like 5 people saw it. So, and I appreciate all 5 of those people, don't get me wrong, but it can be very draining at times. And especially, yeah, when you don't have that marker to say that something is succeeding, you don't really have a lot of indicators. So that's why I always appreciate when people leave comments and they engage and it's like, okay, this is meaningful to you. But it might be a psyop. There might be a reason behind it, or there might just be a lot of people tired of fighting against the machine. I don't know.
Yeah. Simperius, I am not being racist and ignoring you. Calm down. Keep your panties on. Thank you, seriously, Shelby, for posting Outspoken Samantha's channel in the chat. Guys, if you would, please click on that, even if you got to go away for a moment. And make sure that you're subscribed to her channel, because I'm telling you guys right now, the people who watch the show, who listen to the podcast, if you're not directly sharing this out with people, there is no way that people are going to find out about it. I have not been pitching the membership thing. It's still a thing. And thank you for those of you who've joined as of late. I'm almost to a point where I'll break even, where I will start breaking even month by month. But the reason why is because yeah, exactly. It's because I have, with the new format, I haven't figured out what to do about the membership only show, which of course, over on Locals, until I get 1,000 members, it's 30 minutes a week. Is the current battle rhythm, but I don't know when to fit that in. So I'm off work tomorrow. I'm going to be doing a show at some time tomorrow for 30 minutes, members only, on Locals, and maybe I'll do some kind of other stream. I have no idea. And I am, next week is Halloween. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if we do a show. I mean, I imagine there's going to be like all types of like trick-or-treating and whatnot. I don't know if your kids trick-or-treat. You don't have to share. What is that?
They do. My oldest is, I kind of had to wake him up to the reality that I'm like, you might be getting a little old for this. He's 13 now. So he's like, wait, what?
Free candy? Come on.
Huh? I know. So we'll see. I mean, I think that he can take on the role of like being the lead with his little brother and sister, even though they're 11 and 8, so they're not that little anymore either. But so yeah, but we
with your oldest, you're getting to the age where he's fixing to call you a fascist at some point. So you got something to look forward to.
If I'm not, yeah. Yeah, I know it's a milestone in every child's life these days when they get old enough to call their parent a fascist. I'm not sure how to celebrate that. Is there like a fascist cake or balloons or something?
I have no idea. Well, speaking of fascist, no, there's no way to transition out of that. Joe's a fascist. I'm worse than a fascist, Imperious. I am calling for a monarchy. And that monarch, I definitely don't want to be Donald Trump or Joe Biden or Kamala or anyone else. Let's see. Probably like someone that I know. Anyway, speaking of, there's no way to transition into this, so we'll just jump to it. Guys, Dave Ramsey's he's a redneck, yes, but he's not like an overtly political figure. He tries to stay out of politics, which is interesting. I think he should just dive in and start a political show. But anyway, Vivek tweeted out that our founders would have never imagined more government agencies than we can count. And that's literally true, actually. Yeah. If you can name up to half of the 3 and 4 letter government agencies out there, I'll give you $100. And like, you got to do it live. You can't be ChatGPT in that thing. The right answer is shut it down. Well, Dave opined about this little comment with Tucker Carlson, and let's have a listen.
Vivek saying, turn the bowl over and dump out the alphabet soup up there. Start closing a bunch of these 464 agencies that we have. You know what payroll is? Whew. Number one thing on any business P&L, any government P&L, number one item, largest item when you go down the list of expenses is always payroll. And you got alphabet soup up there. So that means we've been open 200 and something years, and we've averaged 2 agencies a year. And in the first 100 years, we had no agencies. So that means we've averaged 4 agencies a year being formed, and they've never closed one yet. So alphabet this, alphabet that up there. And those people can spend some stinking money, man. They make the rest of us look like geniuses. I mean,
I feel like, over 400 agencies.
I had no idea.
Oh, yeah. It's freaking wild.
Well, and this just brings to mind, so I don't know what I was listening to. Have you seen those little clips going around of Ben Shapiro debating liberals? Those have been going across Twitter today.
Like, which ones? Is it the Jubilee video?
I think so. Yeah, well, I should have narrowed that down because that's what he does. That's what he does. That's what he does.
I think Samantha's drinking too.
I'm a little tired. It's fine.
I actually watched. I watched almost that whole episode today in the car because I was in traffic so much of today. I don't want to talk about it. But go ahead.
Yeah, no. One of the guys he was talking to was making the argument about how we need all of these illegal immigrants to come into the country to help with our workforce, to help with the labor, to take on all these jobs that apparently Americans don't want to do. And when you and I promise this is relevant, when you have that argument, it's like, well, how many people in the United States, how many American citizens themselves have dropped out of the workforce? And of course, we know that they're making this argument because they keep hearing it from politicians. They keep hearing it from their liberal professors. I mean, this is just something that, well, when you think about the job market, when you think about what the government is doing, they're constantly just creating jobs for themselves and creating wealth for themselves. And it's just one more example of things that they do for themselves, where in an area where people, everyday people, us peasants, are losing out. When it comes to jobs, we have to sacrifice our jobs. We have to sacrifice the market here. But anytime they want to have a job or create an income, they can just manifest it into existence and make it happen. So it's almost, I feel like there's some kind of, I don't know, government supremacy going on here, because they just seem to be able to do all these things and make them happen on our dollar, whereas every area that they benefit in is an area that we are struggling in. So it just, the disparity between us and those in charge just seems to be getting bigger and bigger. So I know that was kind of like a stretch to tie those two together, but that's just what popped into my brain when I'm listening to him talk about hundreds of agencies that they just keep making out of nowhere to create more opportunity for them when we're losing opportunity. So
yeah, the thing that is top of mind when I think about the alphabet soup is it only, just like Congress, just like the budget, just like the volume of laws and regulations, it only marches in one direction. Very rare to see someone cut down budgets, to see someone turn down benefits, to see someone deregulate, which Donald Trump did. People don't give him credit for it. He did a tremendous job deregulating. And he had some like rules, like for everyone you add, you got to X 2 or 3 or something like that. Paul Lott, he's one of the only guys that I know who's run for office. And part of his plan is, hey, maybe we don't need to add a bajillion more laws. Maybe we should start doing some causal analyses of how these laws have had impact. What was the situation when we added this last law? What were the metrics and how has it changed? Because if your law didn't work, get rid of it. Get rid of, go back. Say, we screwed up, go back. But the alphabet soup of it all, it bothers me for two reasons. It bothers me because many of their budgets are bottomless and they just ask Congress for more money. Congress plays footsie with the idea that they're going to withhold, but they never actually truly withhold. You might see a headline, Congress turned down funding to, but within 6 to 8 weeks, they're going to give them that funding. There's not going to be a sexy headline. There's going to be some backdoor deal that's made, literally backdoor if that gay dude from, what's his name, staff is involved. But anyway, man, I really wish I never saw that. That video was the worst.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
so flashbacks to just good times, man. Libs can get away with anything. Yeah. So they never turned down the funding, and then they never turned down the regulatory authority. So like the IRS is making laws, the ATF is making laws, the FBI is making laws, DHS. Don't even get me started there. Those guys are pretty scary. The things that they can do, the powers that they have over Americans who aren't terrorists, who aren't, foreign nationals, but like the power that a DHS official has over everyone watching is nuts.
Yep.
So
Yeah. Yep. No, absolutely. Well, and as Dave Ramsey is clearly somebody that talks about that financial realm of things, he's going to look at all these agencies and he's like, I have never seen so much excess spending in my entire life, and I've been doing this a long time. He's like, I need to see your guys' budget. And I need every single one of these expenses for these agencies to be accounted for. I can only imagine what that would look like if Dave Ramsey got a hold of, the budget, the government budget that accounts for all of these things. I mean, he would get in there and really get it down to the bare bones, which is what we need.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad that Dave Ramsey is starting to weigh in more on politics. And I always figured that he would definitely be more conservative than anything, but it's kind of like Dr. Phil. For years, like he kind of stayed out of the political realm, and suddenly he just like exploded and he's like, I'm done with this crap. We're going full politics. So
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Dr. Phil's been lighting it up.
I know.
He's been off the chain lately. I enjoy it. Ramsey will never do this, but if Trump wins, Vivek gets into a high office and sought to bring Dave Ramsey on as like an advisor just for this budgetary stuff, that would be epic. Like that would be so good. You never have to come to the swamp. We just send you the data and you rack and stack the spreadsheets and look at the budgets. And honestly, I don't think Dave would do it because he doesn't want to, but also if he had the job, he wouldn't truly look at that stuff. He would just say, like, how much authority do we have to just eliminate stuff? All right, great. We got 430, whatever. Let's get rid of half of them. There's so much redundancy. There's so much bureaucracy. Let's just get rid of, I don't know that I could say all, but honestly, what would happen if just the 3 federal branches of government did their thing, did what they were supposed to do as their own bodies without all of these crazy agencies? Maybe we could give the executive branch 10 to 20 agencies to figure out what to do, and then they just let the states do the rest of it, which is not, there's all of these, what if this, what if that? We don't care. We're the federal government. We handle big picture e-commerce. We handle big picture commerce, foreign relations. We handle security, outward facing, and that's it. You states figure it out. You figure out how to balance. Virginia's budget's balanced. Texas's budget's balanced. Florida's budget is balanced. States are doing better than the federal government.
Yeah.
Freaking A.
I know.
Let's
I know.
just freaking fire some people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, let's hope Trump gets into office again, and hopefully he will learn from some past mistakes and do a little bit more cleaning house than he did last time. Not
Oh,
all, but
I
serious downsizing.
I want to see heads roll. I want to see prosecutions. All of these right wingers, we can't do this. These weapons are going to be turned against us. They're already doing this stuff to us. They're already prosecuting. They're already hauling people off, not charging them with anything and putting them in solitary confinement, not for months, but for years. No. I watched this one Navy SEAL. I think his channel is called Tactical Frogman or something like that. And he's a Christian, and he says, look, vengeance is the Lord's, and I get it. But as a man, as a human, we're flawed. And he describes, because he saw a post about how menacing, he saw a post of criminals describing how they do target acquisition essentially on gun owners, and they essentially wait for the man to leave and target the home when it's empty, or when the thing that the man holds precious is there, his wife and children. So he basically spelled out this whole plan of how he would stalk and execute and torture and torment someone who did that to them, their animals, their parents, their siblings, their spouse, then ultimately them. And I'm like, I get that. He's saying, hey, I'm just a flawed human. I get that vengeance is the Lord's. And as a normal actor, if someone did these terrible things to my family, I'd probably get even. Well, as a non-spiritual entity, the Republican Party needs to get even. The Republican Party needs to start wielding some power instead of sitting around like retards every time they're in the White House and playing nice. Don't play nice. Use the power. We're just marching off a left cliff, guys. Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. No,
I
completely agree. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, do you want to jump over to Trump Derangement Syndrome? Unless you got some thoughts on...
That's always a fun subject, and there's plenty of it to go around. So let's talk about TDS.
All right. Daily Mail never lets us down, guys. Boom. If you haven't seen this video, it's pretty ridiculous. Jaw-dropping moment of raging Kamala Harris voter hurls vile abuse at a woman over her Trump yard sign. The Daily Mail reporting a shocking video was captured the moment a Democrat voter hurled. I hate this term abuse for words. Her expletive-filled rant, blah, 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 blah. Look, this woman is clearly a Karen. She clearly has Trump derangement syndrome. But don't take my word for it. Thank you, libs of TikTok, for sharing an edited video that doesn't have all these F-bombs in it. I appreciate it. Because I don't have to try and edit this myself.
I want to know how you can vote.
We can't answer the door right now, but if you'd like to leave a message, you can do it now.
Shameful.
Are you the one that walks by here and always screaming at people?
No, I haven't walked by recently.
Okay, because a lot of people walk by and scream.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. You are voting for the devil. Don't you know that?
No,
Why are you voting for him?
because I believe he is the moral candidate.
Oh, my God. F you for that one.
That's
Moral?
exactly right. That's how your side acts.
Oh, my God.
That's
He's
how
the
you
most
guys-
immoral person around.
In your opinion, that's
Oh,
okay.
f-
I'm sorry. Have a nice day. Have a nice day. God
everybody's supposed to.
God bless you.
That
Oh my
face says it
gosh.
all.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I saw that a couple of days ago. You know, you never see it the other way around. When when we're supposedly the dangerous ones, we're the threat, we're the unreasonable, we're the irrational ones, but you never see people like going up to people's homes and kicking down Tim Walz and Kamala Harris signs and ringing people's doorbells and yelling at them. It just doesn't happen. And I mean, when I saw a couple of interviews that Kamala did this week, and you can see the people in the audience that are sitting there just looking like they would rather be anywhere else but sitting there and listening to her talk. You can feel the energy in the room. You can hear the tone of her voice, and everything is about disaster and fear and death and anger and hostility. And it's no wonder that that the Democrat base behaves like this. This is what they are sowing into people. This is what they're instilling in them. I mean, I would be angry too. I would be angry too if that's all I heard all the time. Of course, people are going to behave this way. And of course, going up to a doorbell and screaming and yelling at somebody that they don't even know, and yelling about the other person being immoral, the other person making a poor choice, and incapable of determining who's good and who's bad, when she's the one yelling her brains out at a total stranger for no reason. It's like, have you ever sat back and thought about how you came to this place in your life where you think that this is a normal way to behave?
It's so wild. She went to this woman's house. Like, I got treated like this by Karens out on the sidewalk or out in parking lots. But like, if one of them came to my house, my hat is off to this woman. The woman who lives there. She was just so even-tempered.
Yeah. Well, and I think at this point, it's something that we've gotten used to. We've and again, it shows that there's no like self-reflection when it comes to the Democrat Party and their voters, because the fact that we have just come to expect this from them proves the kind of people that they are. It just proves that they're known for being angry and hostile and for just lashing out for no reason. Yet again, none of them sit back and look at themselves. I shouldn't say none, because there's a lot of people that are waking up. I love seeing their stories, but there are still so many people that don't sit back and think about, have I always been this kind of person? Or was there something that changed? Is there perhaps an influence in my life that turned me into this really horrible human being? And, none of them really take a moment to sit back and think about that.
Anson Knoll says, who's the broad? If you're talking about this lovely lady, we have no idea. If you're talking about Outspoken Samantha, then where have you been, dude? It's Outspoken Samantha. Go check out her show. Her profiles and links are right under the video where you are watching this very moment.
I know.
So welcome. Punch her out. I don't think that, this lady... when you're looking at the use of force criteria, does she have opportunity and intention and this kind of things? Maybe, but does she have the means to justify us punching her out? Probably not, because she's like a frail old white lady. Now, if she goes reaching into her pockets or waistband, then she's gonna get it, and not in the good way, or well, not good way. If she raises good guys don't determine the level of force. Bad guys determine the level of force. So it's not, we're out here wanting to kill people. It's like, no, we're out here wanting to live our lives, and we meet threats with appropriate counter threats. So that's how that works. I can't play.
Would it be appropriate to go out and engage with her verbally? Because I could see myself potentially getting into like a yelling match with her. But at that point, like, I don't want to behave in the same way that she is. So what's the right answer? What's the right approach?
The woman handled her really well. I think an acceptable approach that's decently trollish and probably would have gone a lot more viral is to tell her to get off your property, or else, and she would have resisted, and then I would have just sprayed her with the water hose.
Love it.
So, yeah. And shouldn't I get to, dang it, as a black person, isn't it my right to spray whiteys with water hoses?
Absolutely.
Sure. And I'm what is it? I'm an FBA, dang it.
What's an FBA again?
Foundational Black American. It's so stupid. Yes. It's so stupid. Guys, I can't play the audio here because there are just too many bad words to even count. But, you know, Trump derangement syndrome, of course, is alive and well on college campuses, where I think this is UC Berkeley, where this individual who has XY chromosomes, but, you know, wears a bra and bell bottoms and all that stuff, and this ridiculous looking ponytail here, is super offended about this. Is this Turning Point gear? I'm not sure. I can't see the buttons. Anyway, it's interesting without the audio, but you can see what this lovely individual is doing. Which I gotta say, there's a person sitting right here. So at this point, I'm putting hands on. Period. I have been doused in a lot of things. Every one of those people that I can recall was taken to the ground. So that's what I would have done. These people are saints. They really are.
They're what?
They're saints for just dealing with this.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely, that warrants like a physical reaction, because once you start throwing things at people, even if it's just liquid, like you don't know what's in there. It could be anything. I mean, I think it was just tomato soup, which, like, who walks around with a giant can of tomato soup or tomato juice? Who knows?
What are the odds that there's probably some urine in there? What do you think the over-under is on that?
Yeah, you know, I would not be surprised. But that definitely,
this person wasn't just walking around with that.
Yeah, they came with a purpose. So I would not be surprised if there's something else mixed in that jar.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's assault.
Yeah, don't put up with this kind of stuff. So technically, the verbal stuff and the posturing is the assault. But this particular one has a little bit of battery involved. And then they just walk away in all of their sassy glory. This guy, we are going to play this guy.
Behold the tolerant left.
Behold the tolerant left. Yeah.
Right.
Guys, I've tried. This is a serious question for people in the chat, for Samantha. I have tried reaching specifically people that are plagued with Trump derangement syndrome, not just like, you know, I go and I definitely talk to the Black community a lot, you know, at the barbershop and in other places, you know, in and around downtown Leesburg, and, well, Black and Hispanic community here in Loudoun. And they're usually not this crazy, but I target these people because I'm like, I gotta talk to you. I gotta try and reason with you, see if we can get some points and counterpoints going. Very little success, almost 0%, less than 3% success rate. What can we do to reach these psychos?
You can't. And that's why I say, I mean, there's a lot of people that I have seen, even, I was watching, TikTok. TikTok is just a thorn in my side these days. I know, but I was watching a gal today saying she was getting ready to vote, and at the last, you know, within the last probably week or so, she actually just started to dig in and do her research in a legitimate way. And she's like, I am so glad that I did not just go cast my vote for Kamala Harris. She's like, even just taking a little bit of time and really trying to evaluate what it is that I believed about Trump, what I believed about Kamala. And she's like, I am so glad I didn't make a rash decision. And so, you know, people are changing their mind in the strangest and, dare I say, most miraculous ways these days, even at the last second, which I truly appreciate. So I think there are people that can be reached. But there are some people.
What is getting those people? Is it a video? Is it a friend?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, a lot of times they don't really say. I think it's just that little nagging feeling just to ask a question. And those are the people that we can still reach. And that's why, I don't think all people on the left or that are Democrats still are unreachable, but there are people that have this derangement syndrome. It's a cult at this point, and I don't throw that word around lightly, but there are people that are so just entrenched in this. They're so immersed in this hatred for Donald Trump. They literally cannot see anything else. There's no talking to them. There's no reasoning with them. There's no arguing. You can show these people facts. You can tell them the statistics. You can give them you can lay it all at their feet. It's like talking to a brick wall. It's not worth the energy. I think
You're
people
right.
just need to accept not everybody is reachable. It's just not worth it. Like, we like to think that they are, but there's some people that just truly aren't.
Hanson Knoll says, I've never voted for Trump. If you're comfortable sharing, are you going to vote for Trump this time around? Or do you abstain? You got to expound for us. Juan Ablo Pacheco over on Rumble says, my question is, why is he, she, it, whatever, not arrested for assault when they threw the tomato paste? Then again, it is UC Berkeley. Honestly, cops feel very awkward in these circumstances. Tim Pool talks about this all the time. It's because the other side is so loud, so aggressive, so violent, so litigious and boisterous. It's easier to de-escalate things by doing the injustice. It's easier to remove the compliant Christian conservatives peacefully protesting. It's easier to tell them, hey, you need to leave or we're going to trespass you. We're going to place you under arrest. When Antifa moms are outside your home, it's easier for the cops to arrest you inside your house, to go into your home and arrest you and take you out just to diffuse the situation. So, I mean, I don't know. We just have such an injustice system right now. It's outside of even the agencies. In practice, our society practices injustice as a social norm. So I still think we're cooked. I haven't talked about it in a while. I think that we are enjoying the collapse of the republic, folks. I think there's no coming back. I don't think Big Daddy Trump's going to save the day. I don't think God is going to save the day. Obviously, he could, but I think God has given us over to the stupidity of us doing this to ourselves and saying, all right, well, you guys want to be big dog? Do your thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I mean, just to kind of rewind a little bit as far as, why the police don't step in, why this person wouldn't get arrested. I mean, as you mentioned, they're in California. I mean, there are people that are looting entire stores and, police just stand there and watch because they know, first of all, it's not a crime anymore if it's under a certain dollar amount. They also know that if they do try to take any of these people in, they're not going to be charged with anything. They're just going to be let back out. So somebody throwing tomato juice at somebody they're like, whatever, it's just another, afternoon in California. But also, to your point, when these people are dealing with those of us that tend to just kind of deal with it and let them get away with it because it's just not worth the energy, they're like, if we don't make an issue of it, they're not going to make an issue of it. So, I mean, it seemed to be that the people that this person was throwing the juice at, they weren't calling for help. They weren't trying to get the attention of anybody in law enforcement. Who knows if they were on the phone? But ultimately, I think, again, because we've come to accept this as normal from them, a lot of times people just aren't doing anything about it. They're like, it's essentially like dealing with an adult toddler, like somebody, just a toddler that's, the size of an adult throwing a temper tantrum. And people have just kind of started to treat them that way. So you wouldn't call the police on a 3-year-old. So you're probably not going to call the police on a liberal. And that's just kind of my theory on that. But as far as whether or not,
it's a good theory. I've seen actual toddlers do this action right here. My literal toddlers do this. It's a good point.
Yeah. I think that's what the way a lot of people view these. I mean, like the lady coming up to the door and screaming. I mean, how many times have we seen children just run up to somebody's door and start ringing the doorbell and talking to them through their Ring camera? So they're like, oh, it's just another child. Like,
sad but true. Guys, TDS does not escape the most powerful or famous among us. If you are unaware, the political elite are plagued as well. And if you watched, not Brett Cooper, goodness gracious, what's Brett's last name?
Bear?
Yeah, if you if you watched his interview, then you might have recognized that some famous Indian, Black, Jamaican, whatever woman is also plagued with TDS.
Democrats voted.
Donald Trump, 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 and Donald Trump, Donald Trump.
President Biden had a fundraiser debate stage.
Let's go back to
oil
Donald
profits.
Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald.
I wish they ended that clip with him saying, I hope you got to say everything you wanted about Donald Trump tonight. That would have been the cherry on top.
I know.
Good
I know. And then
grief.
they're freaking out because, at least according to some polls and some general public discussion, Trump is ahead in a lot of
Yeah.
states. And I know that that's shocking to her, but this isn't 2020 anymore. And I don't know how it worked in 2020, but it did. But the campaign of just not being Donald Trump is not working for a lot of people. It's only working for those who have Trump derangement syndrome, which thankfully is a smaller number of people. Everyone else is like, yeah, we're going to need a little bit more than that. So shocking that it's not going well.
Did you watch the Al Smith dinner speeches?
I watched Trump's speech.
Yeah, me too. It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was good. It was very funny, but I think the funniest part about it was that Schumer was in the shot and just kind of, he laughed a lot. And he also seemed to shake his head at agreement a fair number of times, which was, he knew that he was like, one, career politician. He knew that he was being recorded. I think there's just a lot of weirdness with the political elite and Donald Trump right now. Biden's putting on MAGA hats and Biden's like going back and forth like a ping pong ball. Well, these are the top 5 most epic moments. It's 90 seconds long, so maybe we should interject. But I just thought this was freaking hilarious. Very well done, whoever put this together. And got to do the attribution here. This was tweeted out by John, very generic Twitter handle, John. That's Mustang Mech. Good for you, good sir.
I used to think the Democrats were crazy for saying that men have periods, but then I met Tim Walz. Well, I'd better wrap up because Mayor Adams told me earlier that I needed to make this one very quick, especially the city has reserved this room for a large group of illegal aliens coming in from Texas. There's a group.
That one is particularly painful because it's probably true. All hotels, convention centers are housing illegals and crime is off the chart. So it is a little bit weird that the political elite are in here at one moment and very soon after this room is probably filled with illegals and they're just laughing about it. This is Hunger Games Capitol style nonsense.
Oh, I know. And this is just another, and it's so funny because this is the exact kind of material that we find in those parody political ads. The things that they are making fun of are things that are actually happening. It's like, it's funny, but at the same time, extremely serious. So they're like, I don't know if I should laugh or if I should, bury my face in my dinner napkin. They're just not quite sure how to react to this. But they hate it because they know that humor makes people listen in a lot of ways that other things can't, which is why the parody campaign ads are so effective. But they're like, they have this guy laughing, they have the crowd laughing, but the people listening are going to actually be paying attention to what he's saying. So I think that's the cringiest part of all of these elites in the room. They're like, oh shoot, he's bringing attention to this issue, and I hope people just take it as a joke and don't actually take it seriously, even though a lot of people are going to think a little bit about it. So it's effective.
Speaking of effective, this is a lovely ensemble over his left shoulder, our right. I see you, girl. Classy, elegant, very nice.
Yep.
There's a group called White Dudes for Harris. Have you seen this? White Dudes for Harris. Anybody know? Are some of you here? White Dudes for Harris doesn't sound like it. But I'm not worried about them at all because their wives and their wives' lovers are all voting for me.
Schumer's face for this one cracks me up. He's like, yeah, we're in a throuple too. Yeah. And it's never too, you notice what's weird about the political elites thruples? The picture in every mind's eye is two girls, one man. Two women, one man, rather. But somehow it's always two dudes, one chick with these weirdos. I don't know who decided on that. But Schumer's face here is just priceless.
He's like, how did he know?
Yeah. You're white dudes for Harris, man.
A major issue in this race is child care, and Kamala has put forward a concept of a plan. A lot of people don't like it. The only piece of advice I would have for her in the event that she wins would be not to let her husband, Doug, anywhere near the nannies. Just keep them away. That's a nasty one. Chuck Schumer is here looking very glum. Doesn't he look glum? He looks glum. But look on the bright side, Chuck, considering how woke your party has become. If Kamala loses, you still have a chance to become the first woman president.
He wants so badly to laugh just hysterically here. And he can't do it. He knows it's funny, but he can't do it.
I know.
He couldn't recover from making fun of the gender confused among us.
Yep.
Well done, Donald Trump. That's about the only reason to consider going to New York City.
Mm-hmm.
Is to get in on that.
Yep. Well, and I mean, did you watch his entire speech?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, my favorite was when he said that it's a shame that Tim Walz couldn't be here, even though he's going to say that he was.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it. I love it. And
that should have been
like
in the top 5.
Yeah. Like I said, the crazy thing, everything that he's talking about is an actual, like, serious position of the left. So I'm glad that he went in that direction with his speech. It's just another way to bring to the forefront just how insane the Democrats have gotten. And they're sitting there like, if we laugh, then we're acknowledging how stupid we are. So, they're caught in their own insanity. What I thought was funny, because I saw this on the meeting planner just before I logged on, I saw this article by The Blaze, and it's about Charlemagne the God, and the title says, Charlemagne the God wakes up, Democrats lying about Trump's threat to democracy. And he specifically brings up this dinner. Sorry, I'm just looking at it on my phone. And he says, if you look back at Donald Trump's history, last night we were at the Al Smith dinner and he was right next to Chuck. And he said to Chuck Schumer, who's obviously a Democrat senator, he said, I gave Chuck his first check ever. And he said he doesn't like the optics of it because and he goes on to say, the only reason I don't like the optics of that is because when you hear people like Chuck Schumer say things like Trump is a threat to democracy, but then you're sitting next to him yucking it up, why would you be yucking it up with somebody you consider a threat to democracy? So I thought it was really interesting, even in those moments when the Democrats don't think that these things are going to register with people, they're like, if Trump is such a threat to democracy, if he really is this horrible person, you're sitting there having dinner with him, you're laughing with him, you're joking with him. To me, this seems like contradictory to the idea that this guy is as dangerous as you guys say he is.
Yep.
So I just thought that was really interesting that even Charlemagne is just like, wait a second, this doesn't add up.
I hadn't heard that, but it makes sense because this is, especially considering here, let me try and get this right, because the Atlantic, if I can get this word out right, the Atlantic is calling him a fashion Nazi, and because they're saying that he's the amalgamation of Hitler and Stalin and Mussolini, drastically different political ideologies, all on the extreme far left. No, Hitler was not a Republican, folks, or a conservative. The National Socialist Party, no, they're not far right. They are not for more independence, more liberty, more individual rights. They're for total government control. If you believe that he's a fashion Nazi, if you believe that he's as bad as a Hitler or Stalin or a Mussolini or pick your despot out of a hat, you wouldn't be sitting there having dinner with them. Just like,
yeah,
that's just like, guys, if us in the chat, if Samantha and I and you guys in the chat, we went to a ball where not only in attendance, but they let these people speak. Ghislaine Maxwell, P. Diddy, maybe we could get Epstein back from the grave, and they let them go up and speak and tell jokes, and we all laugh. That's absurd.
Yeah.
This is called prima facie evidence to the contrary. On the face of the argument, it's not true. It doesn't pass the sniff test, even if you got to smell it for a second.
Right. Yeah.
That's a really good point.
If they truly believed it, they would stand by that position in all circumstances. And they would say, no, this guy is so dangerous. Like, we aren't even going to invite him to this dinner. We are not even going to sit down and, keep his company. We're not going to go anywhere near this person. That is how dangerous, especially with the way that they're painting him here. This combination, of Hitler, Stalin, and Mussolini had a baby, it would be Trump. I mean, that's legitimately insane. And not only that, I remember, and I think you brought it up too, where Joe Biden jokingly put on a MAGA hat. Like, that is not, those aren't the actions. I mean, we know his mental state is not all there, but those aren't the actions of somebody that truly believes that this is somebody that is akin to Stalin. Like, they wouldn't want to be associated with him in any way, or his ideology, or even pretend that they are okay with it. So it just doesn't work. And not only that, guys, what they have working against this narrative is that Trump was in office for 4 years. He was the president for 4 years, not that long ago. This was not the way that he ran the country. It was the opposite of what you are saying. So we have a direct record of this person being in the White House and not being the person that you say that he is, and not being the kind of government leader that you say he is.
Well, they'll say hush money to Stormy Daniels. They'll say January 6th. They'll say anything that ends in phobic or IST, or, well, let's see, transphobe, bigot, xenophobe. What else do we call this guy? There's at least like 5 phobias and maybe like 5 ist type things, of which he's none of. He's married to an immigrant who, and it's hard to say because sometimes the God's chosen people, sometimes they're considered white, but sometimes they're not, which came up in that Jubilee thing with Ben Shapiro. which those people's arguments were pretty terrible. There was one guy on there who brought some really good arguments against Shapiro for the immigration stuff, but there were some form issues with his argument that, like we all know, Shapiro keyed in on and freaking destroyed. Anyway, that was like, my brain just went way back to something you said about that. Good episode. Good episode. I'm still waiting for, I think Andrew Wilson was on Jubilee. I'm waiting for that to come out. I haven't seen it yet. All right, guys, we'll dive into this last story if Samantha still has a moment. We are doing call-in, trying to police things up a little bit. So if you want the link to call in, mods have it over on Discord. Grid One Motorsports has it. Seriously, Shelby's got it. Well, if you can join, a couple of people have it. Adam Ant, it's in your Discord as well. All right, so I was frankly surprised by this. I was surprised by this when I saw post it on Twitter. Apparently, the Biden-Harris administration, this is gaslighting at its finest, guys. They are sending illegals from all throughout the country. Here, I'm going to stab myself with the letter opener. They're sending illegals from all throughout the country, and California and Washington State and New York, all over the place. They're sending them back to Arizona and Texas. And apparently a DHS insider, yes, guys, Customs and Border Patrol is the federal Department of Homeland Security. That's one and the same. So DHS insider is saying that they're doing this explicit. They're intentionally doing this to hide the border crisis in the weeks ahead of the election. Literally 2 weeks. Elections in 2 weeks, guys. In less than 2 weeks. What is it? Elections in 2 weeks. Biden-Harris administration sending illegal immigrants to Texas to hide border crisis ahead of election, says Border Patrol supervisor. The Department of Homeland Security has told Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, to swiftly process its backlog of deportations while it has tasked border agents to fly and bus illegal immigrants from San Diego to border towns in Arizona and Texas, where they won't be noticed so easily, according to the New York Post. This is insane. This is insane because still today, this week, Kamala Harris is saying there's no border crisis. Is the border closed? Yes. Is the border secure? Yes. Are there any issues? Donald Trump. No. Any issues with the border? Not with the Biden-Harris border. There were issues with the Trump border because Trump is evil and bad and sexist and racist and a bigot. The conservative number is 6 million illegals across the border in her tenure. I've heard figures as large as 20.
Yeah.
Either one is ridiculous.
Yeah. I had not heard that this was going on.
Are you excited? You live in Texas. Do you speak Spanish?
Well,
you should learn.
Yeah, no kidding. Right. I had heard that there were some Venezuelan gang issues in Dallas recently, taking over apartment complexes there. So I'm wondering if this has anything to do with it, but we're not near the border. So, I mean, it says that they're going to the detention facilities closer to the border or just to the interior of the state anywhere. I just can't get how evil these people are. I mean, because they're not going to fix this problem. They're not going to send these people back. They're going to keep these people here. Hopefully, I mean, Kamala Harris obviously is hoping that she's going to win. They're not going to deport any of them. So this is obviously just a very temporary situation, but where are they coming from is my question.
Well,
like, are they...
they're coming from all over the world through the southern border. And then, how do I send this? I have no idea. I might have to, and then they're being bused, flown, freaking Ubered, whatever, all throughout the country. Now they're giving those promise to appear, I think is what it's called. There's another word for it, I can't remember, where they say, hey, you're going to come back to this place to sit before this judge while they determine, your asylum claim, if it's founded, or while they determine if you can remain in country, and you promise to appear, you promise to come back. None of those fools are coming back, but there's supposedly a log. They don't know where these people are, but they must know. My guess is the people who get to the temporary housing places where they have them all in hotels and centers and things, once they get out of that, they're totally gone. So my guess is the people who are currently, like Mayor Adams' situation, who are currently housed in state and local government buildings and hotels that they've commandeered, and like freaking National Guard and stuff is commandeered. TikTok's been blowing that out of the water. And the same situation that they have in New York, they have in California. So they've got hotels, they've got community centers filled with illegals, and they're treating it as a halfway house. So apparently the powerless president and vice president, they finally decided, hey, we can do something about this. We're actually going to tell these federal agents who have jurisdiction over this to go and round them up, not deport them, just move them to a state that has better optics, because no one notices an illegal in Arizona and Texas because the border's right there and they're crossing in the tens of thousands every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
It's
and there's
interesting.
a lot more. You tend to notice a large number of these people in more compact areas like New York City, whereas here they kind of blend in a little bit more. I couldn't get over when Kamala Harris was having the interview with Bret Baier, and her answer to this, I think that was the interviewer. It could have been the 60 Minutes interview. Who knows? They all run together, and she gives exactly the same answers in every single interview. But when asked, what are her views basically on this issue? How is she going to handle it? And she just kept saying, I'm going to enforce the law. That's what I've always done. Yeah, right. But the thing is, like, when they get into office, they can decide what those laws are going to be. It's a little bit scary when someone can get in there, they can decide what the laws are, and then they say, now I'm following the law. It's kind of like in California when they've decriminalized everything and nothing is a crime anymore. And yeah, to be fair, they're following the laws. That doesn't mean that there isn't this massive problem, because there is. So I just always find their choice of words very interesting. And it's just the way that you have to listen to the way these people speak, because they're telling you, despite the fact that their answers seem very vague and nonsensical, they're telling you exactly what it is that they plan to do and what they stand for. So that's just kind of what I was thinking of when trying to figure out what the process is here, because clearly they're not going to send these people back. And even the people, and some of the people that were debating Ben Shapiro were completely unaware that the illegal border crossings have been as high as they have been. They have no idea what's going on in places like Springfield and Chicago and New York. They don't know that any of these problems exist right now. So it's going to get to the point where it can't be ignored. And you have to wonder if the TDS people are going to wake up at that point. Who knows? But it's just astounding to me. I hadn't heard this story, so I'm just a little bit flabbergasted, but I can't say as I'm surprised.
Oh, you gotta read that article. The quotes in here from the San Diego County Border Patrol Supervisor Jim Desmond, who I just gotta wonder, like, is this guy's just balls to the wall at this point? He's obviously a federal employee, and he's just he says it's a blatant attempt by the Biden-Harris administration to protect their image before the election, just like publicly. He says, every week I'm watching numerous buses being sent to Yuma, Arizona, and 3 or 4 planes to, is it McAllen, Texas?
Yeah.
This is freaking wild. Great article. All of the post-millennial articles are, who wrote this one? David Creighton, not familiar with that particular journalist. I'm almost afraid to hit this button because every time I went to the 3, 4, 5, or 6 shot, my studio crashed. So I'm going to hit it. Oh gosh, and it's 3 of me. Is this for real? Why am I crazy? Assign guest 1. Oh, it's guest 2 and 3. Why does it say that? Guest 1. There we go. Guest 2. There we go. Technology. All right, that black square is not everyone's favorite, but some people's favorite, I suppose. Imperious, how are you, good sir?
Well, how do I put a damn avatar on this stupid thing? I like every time I come on here, I see a damn blank screen. Everything else, I can put a little picture.
You're gonna have to hit the swear jar if this
I said,
continues.
Damn, that's not a curse. That's in the Bible.
There's a lot in the Bible.
You can't accuse me of cursing if the word's in the Bible. That's not fair, Joe.
Well, if we get into the etymology of swear words of cursing, it is truly subjective. So I would get to do whatever I want because all of those 4-letter words, they're not. It's so funny how cursing became a thing. People swear all types of things, not realizing like, hey, this should not be done. You should not be swearing things, and that's more along the lines of what cursing is, but I just don't like the 4-letter words to keep the show family friendly.
That's G-rated now, though. Even Disney says that word.
Yes, but the rating system is playing in a system of depravity that I am outside of.
That's horrible, Joe. You're being a little strict here. You're being kind of a Protestant here, Joe.
Well, I am a Protestant.
I know. That's what I'm saying. This is too much, Joe.
Yeah, this is funny because, and I never get the opportunity with Andrew Wilson because Andrew Wilson has a terrible potty mouth, and the few times we've talked, it's not come up. But what it comes down to, it's not tone policing. Well, he runs into people who are tone policing. It's just preference. It's just I prefer.
Well, if I said like really like proper cursing, like, would that be okay? Like, if I called someone like putrid or something, would that be okay?
Putrid.
That would be encouraged, actually.
Yes, putrid. Go for it.
Putrescent. Would that be another good one? That's another good one right there.
Absolutely.
So,
Here,
we can do that.
Let's try this one because James
Whoa, we get to see Joe 4 times.
James is in here. No. We're not going to see Joe 4 times.
Joe, why are you ignoring my YouTube brothers over here, Joe? Like, we're always ignored over here. You never respond to us, Joe. It's always
you're not ignored. Goodness gracious.
It's always your favorite X people or Rumble people, but you know, that's all right, Joe. It's all right. We understand where you're at.
I'm doing a pass through because I'm black and I can't read or use the internet, so I have to try
Joe.
I have to try. Samantha is doing voice to text while you guys can't see, and it tells me in my ear what the chat says, and it's a whole process. So
that scares me, Joe.
That's the real role, James. I'm not sure
I thought you were a high-level officer at one time, Joe. You can't do these multiple tasks at one time, Joe.
You thought I was a high level. I was enlisted, and the Army hated it because I was an enlisted guy with a master's degree. And like I'm telling so many people in my daily life, suck it. I can do what I want. Army retention hated that. They really did. But I had things that I wanted to do as an NCO, and I did those things all except for one. And then I got the boot. So it happens.
Joe, wait, you just were not dishonorably discharged, were you?
No, I was medically. I got the medical boot. I didn't get the bad boot.
I was like, that's like a felon.
Thank you, CHD, for stopping by to like the video. Appreciate it. Make sure that you also stop by Outspoken Samantha. James, I don't think we can hear you, man. You might need to unmute yourself. Oh, wait, here, I can unmute you. Maybe? No, it says guest has muted themselves. No, it says you muted guest. Okay, guest has muted themselves now. Maybe try and undo that. Oh. Wait, did we have another story? Did I skip one? Yeah, Commu fashion Nazi. I'm glad I said that right. It's hard to say Commu fashion Nazi. I practiced in the mirror.
Joe, I'm waiting for somebody on TV one time when they call Trump a fascist to ask the person back, can you explain to me why a fascist is worse than a communist?
Well, I'd like them to explain why either this fascist, communist, whatever, handed over power on January 20th, 2021, because that's never happened in the history of the world. This evil dictator, despot, and all the other things they call him.
No, but you got to put them on. I'm painting them in a really bad corner. Because if they say it's not, then they lose their side. If they start defending communism, you're painting him into a lose-lose situation.
Yep. Hey,
that's
James,
why I asked
we got
that
your
question.
audio.
Yeah,
that
there
is
we go.
that is a good question.
I had to change my settings. That's what it was. Because I had my headphones originally plugged up when I entered, and then I unplugged my headphones, so I had to change my settings.
All right. You know, Imperious, I have no idea why this is. I completely ignored this before. I have no idea why an avatar doesn't show up. I wonder. I'm gonna Google it. Actually, Samantha's gonna Google it, and I'm gonna pretend like I'm typing here, but she's
Joe,
actually
can I be a little
typing.
Can I be a little presumptuous here and say that maybe you were Blatt and you didn't want to pay the full fee, you paid for the partial fee?
I paid everything that I use. Everything that I use for the podcast, I pay for the highest version, and I always pay for a full year to dissuade me from getting frustrated and quitting it. Unless it really truly doesn't work, and then I'll hit up customer service. But honestly, you have to do 8, 10, 12 weeks to really test something out, get good with it. So anyway, every software and tool I use for the podcast, I use for a year.
We just hire an Asian IT dude, and he fixes it for us. That's what I'd rather do.
My IT guy is white. His name is
He's
David.
a white. Oh, those are the worst kind, though. They look like scrubby liberals. They always look like scruffy liberals, though. They're always like some tall, geeky guy.
The avatar should be free, though. It's showing up on Avatar. That should be considered.
I would hope so.
It's free on StreamYard. I mean,
yeah, you should just you can put it on there.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's weird that it's not. Let's see, Avatar. I can spell.
I don't know. Everything's different. It's weird.
Samantha, this has nothing to do with politics or culture, but how are you liking StreamYard now that you're doing a live stream?
It's good. It's relatively easy to use, especially for someone such as myself that doesn't actually like to learn to use anything. I want to be able to just click a few buttons and have it work the way that I want it to. So I'm getting the hang of it.
You know what's gonna happen now, right? Now you're gonna want to get a Stream Deck. These things are so helpful, so much fun.
Are those where you can put like the really funny clips on and stuff, and the sounds? And you just push it?
Sounds, yeah. I think
you can do sounds and overlays like this one, reminding people to become a member at thejoemobley.com/join. $5 a month. You get the mug, you get the shirt. And you get some deplorable community, apparently.
Wow, look at how I just set you up for that, Joe.
Very well done.
Wow.
I'll send you a royalty check for 25 cents.
I'm like your Kevin Eubanks. I'll be Kevin Eubanks, and you'll be Jay Leno.
He can't be Jay Leno.
Why can't he be Jay Leno? Are you saying he can't do something because of the color of his skin?
Well, no.
Yeah, because Jay Leno's a liberal douche.
Yeah,
No,
and he's
not. He's not
also,
super liberal.
you
No, he's not
know,
really like that. No,
real,
he's not. He's not super liberal like that.
he likes
He's kind of an old school guy. He like
people
works on
of
cars.
his same, you know, gender.
Yeah, Joe. I don't know, Joe. I think we're going into a great period of time here, Joe. It's a win-win for me, Joe. If it goes all down in flames, we get to see it go down, Joe. And if Trump wins, we still get to see something good happens. But we're still just delaying the inevitable, Joe. Like you said earlier, it's all going downhill. Let's just enjoy the downfall.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, let's just enjoy it, Joe. We're too connected to this world, Joe, on all these possessions and things and the way they are and everything. I think we need to just focus on the moments we have, Joe. You know,
all right, you two randoms. Do you guys have any thoughts about anything that we discussed on the show?
Wow, that's vicious. Look at him, Joe. You seem like you need a hug
vicious.
today.
I'm just focusing you up. Today was
Joe,
a very.
Joe, you seem like you need a hug today. The energy's not the same. It's not that positive Joe energy today. I heard something about
a very stressful day. I will admit.
Tell me about
but
it, Joe.
I'm off tomorrow.
Tomorrow's
stream will be super laid back. I'll put my feet up on the desk, and we'll all day drink together.
Good. It's my Friday too, Joe. It's my Friday too. I'm already 6 beers in, Joe.
Wow.
You know, I think you need to get going a little bit, bud. You know, it's Friday today for me too. So I would, come on. Joe, you're usually drinking, don't you? Don't you like wine or something?
I like bourbon, good friend.
Bourbon?
Yeah, he's a bourbon guy.
Yeah, I'm a bourbon guy.
That's old school, Joe. I like it.
You didn't know that about Joe?
Look, there he is. See, he is drinking. I'm happy.
A lot on here.
Hey, Samantha, do you drink or no?
I think he drinks bourbon
Nope,
like every time.
I don't drink at all.
Wow. Is there a reason for that?
I just don't.
Really?
Because it's the most expensive thing you can do to make yourself dumber.
Or you could listen to FBA. You could listen to FBAs over on CT's channel. That might make you really stupid too, really quick.
I'll be honest.
You'll lose a few IQ points on that one.
Yeah, I've been taking it easy on CT's channel for like the last 10 days because the Tariq Nasheed stuff and the FBA stuff, it's just not. It's not my bag.
Funny. Yo, it's the most epic arc I've ever seen, Joe. This is like
he's getting a lot of money. CT, can I just say, and I think he'd be fine with me sharing this. I don't think I'm telling tales out of school.
Oh, he's making good money.
He's making a lot of money off of this.
Oh yeah, no, it's great, dude. I made people get so mad today. Oh my god, it was hilarious. I
didn't get to see it.
Oh, you got to go watch it. I'm not going to tell you. You go watch that. It's very funny. Joe, it's the best arc on the internet right now, I think. I mean, to me, this is more entertaining than the election. I mean, I'm looking through like a kaleidoscope of different realities through madness. Like it literally, Joe, it's like a cornucopia of nonsense. See, I'm trying not to curse on your show, Joe. I'm trying to be very
very well done. Cornucopia of nonsense.
Yeah. See, I'm trying, Joe. I'm trying. Even buzzed, I'm still trying to respect the platform. You know, what a good guest, right?
What a great Imperious.
What a great guest. No, but Joe, in all realities, I think what you guys were talking about. I mean, I know. I enjoyed the Al Smith dinner. You know me, I'm a Catholic, so of course I watched that. And that is, that I think it raises like millions and millions of dollars every year. So but Joe, it's just another insult he did to us. He didn't go to it, Joe. It's like the first president since 1910 to not go. Every single one, you just go. Like that's like, what an insult, Joe. She's gonna lose Pennsylvania just because of that. You know that, right, Joe? You understand now that like Western Pennsylvania is like majority Catholic.
It is.
It is very Catholic.
Yeah, but there's
It's more than that. Sir.
I hate to be this way. It seems the political divide, it seems that political ideology is digging deeper into people right now than their theological ideology. All that to say, but all that to say, I feel like based on observable facts that a lot of Catholics are like secretly voting for Kamala.
I haven't,
and
I
some
don't know,
of them
Joe.
publicly.
I don't know, Joe. I mean, the Latinos I know, they don't like her, Joe. I'm telling you, like, they don't like her. And in that culture, they don't vote for women, Joe. That's just the way it goes.
I don't.
I'm telling you, Joe. I'm Joe. I'm listen. Listen. I used to build houses. I used to build houses down there for my 1,000 hours of charity for my confirmation.
Oh, jeez.
And Joe, I'm telling you, it's not even like a oppressive thing. Women don't want to do it down. They don't want anything to do with all that nonsense, Joe. And they're very happy with letting men take care of all that. And you're not going to see very many Latino women vote for her either. I'm telling you, Joe. Like, it's just, this is a reality. The polls and how they poll and where they poll is very, very misleading because most people do not answer phone polls. They just don't. They hang up. They don't want to deal with them. These polls are very, very inaccurate. Like, if you're looking really at what is the metric for where things are, look at the internal polling and the reaction from Democrats in Wisconsin over Baldwin. Okay. Like, they're terrified she's going to lose. Did you know in Pennsylvania, the Senate candidate is running advertisements with Trump in it, him hugging Trump in the advertisement, a Democrat? That's where you got to look at, not the polls, but what are they doing? What is their messaging? What are their optics right now? And you're seeing it all. They're terrified they might lose in in Michigan as well, the Senate race in Michigan. Like, all 5 of those Senate seats have kind of tilted in the last week or two. Like, the Senate candidates and the incumbents especially are not going anywhere near her when she comes to any of their states. Do you notice that, Joe?
Yeah. Yeah, I did notice that.
You got to look at these kind of things. I don't care. The polls don't. Polls can be easily manipulated, but what the candidates themselves are doing in their political strategy is what you have to look at. And I'm not saying it's going to be like a massive, but even I think today, what was it? God, what? I'm trying to think of what paper came out, and one of their pollsters said the same thing. It looks like whoever wins is going to sweep all the battleground states. So he predicts that no matter who wins is going to get over 300 electoral votes.
Wow.
So you got to,
you think Trump's got it in the bag or Kamala's got it in the bag?
Well, I think Trump does, but I just don't.
And you think it's going to have over 300, like 307?
Like 312, I think it'll be if he wins, if he sweeps the swing states. Like, he's even like looking good in Nevada too. Have you looked at the early votes in Nevada?
Okay, I'm triggered. You just triggered me.
Pull up the early votes for Nevada, dude.
I'll pull it up, but I'm gonna say this
before you guys get into this conversation. I need to log off, so I hate to abandon. I gotta get some things done, but I will be listening from far.
Thanks, Samantha. Always a pleasure.
Good night.
All right. Good night.
See, she's a good girl. She knows when the real deep conversation, let the men just talk about it, and she goes and does her girl things. You know, she's a good wife.
I don't know about all that. I'm sure she's a lovely.
She doesn't
wife,
want to deal with all that.
That's
what I said. She's a good wife. You can tell she goes and does her own thing.
Oh wait, why is it doing this preview mode right now? Back to live mode. There we go. The thing that pisses me off, I won't ever early vote. The only time that I voted early and by mail was absentee balloting due to military service. Otherwise, I don't care. Trump's saying it now. Vance is saying it now, and Charlie Kirk. What's the gay dude's name? The tall gay dude.
God, the dude in Pennsylvania. Yeah, Scott Pressler.
Scott Pressler saying it now. Fine guy, met him out here in Loudoun County. I will never vote early. I don't think anyone should ever vote early. It's stupid, it's dumb, it's retarded, it's harmful. It serves no purpose other than to help fulfill the triangle of fraud that you need. You need that time and space within to operate. You need the intelligence, which is information, how many votes where, or which bank, or which home is empty, that kind of thing. And then you need the criminal intent. Obviously, we've established criminal intent among the left. We just look at any of the Trump derangement syndromes out there on Twitter.
I agree with you that, like, yeah, we don't want it to be there, but then since it's universally just kind of part of the system now, it just is. It's not going to stop. And so if you look at the numbers though, it can't work.
I refuse. I refuse. No,
I know. I'm not saying
just
don't
like
do it.
we don't charge pedophiles with crime. It's just part of the system. It's never going to change. It's like no.
No. That's not the difference. That's not.
We gotta change the system.
These are election. No. These rules have been changed by the electoral process through people putting representatives in there and changing them and how they vote. Not all states allow really long-term early voting. Some allow, like, you have to. In multiple levels, you have to kind of what is that? Check that, like the signature. You have to check like when it was dated. You have to check like all those different levels. It's not as easy as just California, like every state. And remember, the states themselves are governing these rules and their election parameters. So it's not like they're just going around doing these things. And like I said, I don't mind. All I'm saying is if it can work in Republicans' favor, because if the Republicans are this close on early voting or ahead, it's impossible for the Democrats to win because the Republicans always consistently have a 2 to 4% in-person advantage on the day of election. And so if they're that close and there's that little like motivation for the left to do what they always do, which is vote by mail, they're going to get crushed in in-person voting on the day of the election, Joe. Like, it's going to be brutal. That's what you have to look at right now is the numbers. I think Georgia too. They're close everywhere. I think they're down like 26% in Pennsylvania from where they were in 2020. The Democrat, the spread, 26%, Joe.
Yeah,
like,
I still disagree. The burden hasn't been met to
I get you're being fundamental on this, and trust me, I would want only in person too. Make election day. There I am. Make election day, a holiday, and just let everyone vote. Like, I think that's a good meet in the middle, because everyone's always like, oh, it's hard for me to vote because of this or that. Just make it a holiday and vote. Not a big deal. Yeah. But what the difference is Joe, it's not. It is the parameter of the game. A
holiday or not, if you think it's important, then get your butt out there and vote.
Yeah, I
get that they're doing it now, but what it gives adversaries is too great. What we're giving away is too harmful and is too great to reach the burden for me to be satisfied and say, yes, the good that this does, the benefit that this provides makes me want to go out and vote early. Right now, honestly, all I see is the tremendous harm that it does. If there is one of those big F-word curves, I don't know how hot and heavy YouTube is now about election rules. But if we see one of those comical jumps, those 3 a.m. jumps, it's going to be brought to you by early voting. How many votes where? Every one of you have gone out and voted early. You are giving them the intelligence and the time and space within to operate. This is stuff that, never mind. I can't say too much more about it.
Joe, I get your concerns, but it's a little bit different this time, okay? First, this time if you look at the Republican apparatus, they encourage.
Hands on Knowles. Vote early,
That's
vote
funny.
often, vote Democrat.
But that's the thing, Joe. What happens if we have now in pretty much every battleground state, in every county of every battleground state, we have almost doubled our voting registration, and if we win and we have more votes, just raw number votes in each county, and we start winning and we decide the election rules and stuff, that's what you want, Joe. It's just pure numbers. We're having a higher registration. I think for the first time in a long time, there are more registered Republicans in the country than Democrats right now.
But there's a lot
Like,
of
and I think, and the thing is, Joe, it's not, remember the parameters of the game. It just changes how you strategically look at it. It doesn't change the essence of the game. Like, you got to be more worried about ranked choice voting than you should be about voting by mail, Joe.
Yeah, ranked choice voting is a freaking tragedy as well. I almost said travesty.
Yeah, you should be much more concerned about that. I mean, even Alaska, I think they're voting right now to try to get rid of it in this election. So, I mean, Joe,
I'm concerned with both. Virginia in the primary did ranked choice voting a couple elections ago, and I was raising hell about it. It's a terrible. Yeah, it might have been county by county, but Loudoun County, I want to say either 2016 or 2020 for the primary was ranked choice.
Joe, why can't the Republicans get a foothold in Virginia anymore? What is going on, Joe? I mean, Youngkin is in there, I get it, but like, what is the issue there that is so significant with people that the Republicans can't?
I don't know what you're talking about. Virginia is a if you look at our governors, they very predictably vote. Virginia votes against second-term presidents regardless of party. So in Clinton's second term, Virginia went red. In Obama's second term, Virginia went blue. Red. I just dropped my wedding ring, so I'm gonna get down here and find it. Juan, how are you, good sir?
Because we seem to have like a.
It's not good news to find that you dropped your wedding ring. That means the wife is not going to be too happy with you, sir.
Oh no, I play with it in my fingers like this. And I apparently got this from one of my wife's favorite movies, Father of the Bride. There we go. Joe just got a divorce. Get out now. So stupid.
Poor Joe.
When it comes to early voting, I actually did vote early, but I didn't do the mail-in stuff because I agree with you guys. And in fact, in Arizona, one of the early voting drop-off spots got lit on fire by, you guessed it, the black bloc.
The tolerant left? Oh.
Yeah, well, tolerant left, yeah, how could it be them? But yeah, they got hit, and then I think another spot in your neck of the woods also got lit up as well. And so I can understand where you're coming from, but I know in my case, it was one of those, not to sound like I'm chicken shit right now, pardon my language, but I wanted to vote early in the event that I could go ahead and stream election night and get the heck out of Dodge if you know what hits the fan on November 5th and 6th.
Yeah. Tonight's gonna be wild. It's gonna be crazy.
Joe, I can't wait. I can't wait. It's only like a week and a half, Joe, and I get to see it all burn down. It's gonna be hilarious. I'm excited, Joe. I just want to. Either way, it's gonna go down in flames, Joe. All of it. This is like the pinnacle of a movie, Joe. We're like building up toward the crescendo. You know what I mean? It's just like the apex of the building of the tension, Joe, and all the suspense of what's gonna happen. And then it's then the powder keg, it's going to finally blow over, Joe.
Every great empire falls at some point.
Yeah, Joe. This is gonna be hilarious, Joe. And you know what, Joe? You know who I blame, Joe? You know what I was watching today online? I was watching today that they're gonna let out the Menendez brothers, Joe.
Oh, really? How did I miss that?
That's how effed up our country is, Joe.
They're not going to let.
They're going to let out the Menendez brothers.
They're not going to let them out. They're just going to make them eligible for parole. I think they're resentencing them is what's going on.
No. They're resentencing them because in California statute, if you're under 26, you can't serve the entire statute and they'll be out before Thanksgiving. That's why they're resentencing them.
Oh, okay. Because I was of the impression that they were being resentenced, or Gascon. He's not popular anyway right now. He's on his way out. But from what I understood,
But that's why he's doing it. That's why he's doing it. But that's why he's doing it. He got the really crazy one.
Mister, you got to get the link, man. You got to get the link on Discord. Adam, man, I don't know if you're free. The link is in your Discord. Oh man, where was that chat? It was just on screen and now I lost it. Yeah, Mr. says, I've been tracking election laws at state legislature level for 7 months. New voting laws in Virginia, Georgia, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Arizona, and Wisconsin. Wow, all swing or highly contentious states. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, but I mean, it's part of the game. Yeah, if they're the contentious states, that's the who's trying to get power and who does have power. They're going to fight and use it to try to advance their side. This is part of the game, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is just the biggest and fun and the biggest and the most influential game. Like, of course, people are going to change the rules to try to win. The problem with Republicans and conservatives in general is they bend into people that have no morals because they themselves have morals. You don't have to bend to these people. They have no hesitation to stomp you out of existence if they could. None, zero whatsoever. They wouldn't feel bad about it.
But that's what makes North Carolina. Real quick, that's what makes North Carolina interesting, and the reason why, Joe, real quick, is North Carolina. I know what law there that you guys are talking about in the chat. That law was actually, or that bill, believe it or not, was vetoed by Governor Cooper. But North Carolina has a supermajority. You know how California has a supermajority?
They overrid the veto. Yeah, they overrid the veto
because they have a supermajority of Republicans in the Tar Heel state, and so they overrode that and basically shoved the middle finger up in Cooper's face. But I think that's also telling, because it could be, Joe and Imperius, that the Republican Party might actually be shifting from I'm moral, that you're not playing fair, to F you, finally we're going to fight fire with fire, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, Trump is teaching them how to win. You have to teach the Republicans how to win. They're not used to winning, and when they do, they sit on their thumb. They don't know what they're doing. They're incompetent. You have to learn how to win. Every great athlete will tell you, it's not just, you have to learn how to win. Like, it's not just something that happens. You have to change your mindset, change what your goals are, change your fundamental reality on what you're focusing, how you go about things. If you're going to try to win, it's not just, one day, let's just win. No. It's like a process. And then when you start winning, you have to understand how to take that and not get overwhelmed with it, not get your ego all overwhelmed by it. You have to learn how to win and stay focused and stay hungry and want more. Don't get complacent.
But yeah, Mr. Very rare, especially here apparently, because I was told that apparently I live in a very Republican part of Virginia, down here in Southwest Virginia. So yeah.
Mr. Welcome in, good sir.
Mr. with us. Oh, Mr.
Hey, what's up? I'm out on the road working. But I just wanted to come up to say something real quick that not a lot of people, are covering. But they've been, the Republicans in the RNC, they've been ahead of the Democrats for almost a year now. That's it's night and day different than it was in 2020. So, that's why I mentioned about the laws that they implement. It's like the Democrats are trying to play catch up, and they don't have enough time to do it. They just don't. Every day I'm seeing a new story about how someone's getting caught at a ballot box in Michigan or whatever, and I'm looking at it and I'm just laughing because I'm like, they are. I mean, look, you saw what happened today with Kamala, right? Where she was like the fake story about Trump being, you know, a German overlord. I'm not going to break TOS, but
Oh, you mean the
you know what I'm
mustache man?
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they were talking about that. Oh, they were talking about that on CT's today. I seen what the title was for CT's stream, but I didn't get to watch it. Yeah.
Oh, CT's over
Yeah,
on Just the Guys podcast. That's a good show, Just the
Oh,
Guys.
that's Gimpy's channel. He was telling me about it. Yeah, I'll probably jump on there after your show. Then. Just the
Yeah,
guys. That's
Gimpy's.
right. Yeah.
Channel? Just the Guys, Gimpy's channel?
I love making fun of Gimpy. He's a good little small hat. You know, I like messing with him.
Can I just say no?
No,
Never
like I
mind.
said,
I'm
they-
not gonna say that. I haven't had enough alcohol. Go
Were
ahead,
you going to
Mr.
say something
Mister.
about the small hat?
No,
Are you going to say
no.
something about the small hats, Joe?
Now YouTube's homepage is open in front of me. I was gonna say something completely unrelated.
Nah,
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna drop down. I'm gonna drop back down, but really quick, I just wanted to say that's why, you know, they're scrambling. I mean, you're gonna hear something new every day for the next 2 weeks. It's gonna be this ridiculous crap. They're not gonna win. They're not. I'm telling you. That's why I put in the chat. I'll bet you $500 they're gonna win Virginia. I mean, you got a red governor. If you want a litmus test for all you people out there, this is my claim, my particular sole claim. I will bet that Republicans take back Virginia, and it's been blue for the longest time. Why? Because they implemented paper ballots, and they got a red governor. So, you know, they're going to win Virginia, I
going
think.
after him right now
Yeah,
too
well,
for that,
paper
aren't
ballots,
they?
yeah.
Aren't they going after him for the voter rolls right now?
It's
Joe?
happening in a lot of places. It's, I mean, like I put in the chat, Arizona, the government is okay. So this is the thing that upsets me. How can you claim in 2020 when PA elects, breaks its own voter laws and that causes the Jan 6 thing, right? So we on our side say, okay, no problem. State legislator makes its voting laws. That's our level playing field, no problem. But then now all of a sudden Arizona wants to scrub all the illegals from the voting rolls, but the government wants to come in and say, we're going to sue them. This is the type of stuff you're seeing. This makes me laugh because
not just Arizona,
there's
some governments in Alabama and also Virginia for literally doing the exact same thing that you're talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's funny to me. I'm just sitting there laughing because I'm like, they're in a lot of trouble. Obviously, they're not going to win. They're not going to win. So, all right.
Well,
Thanks for having me up.
the more they scramble, and the more they're acting out like a wounded animal. If you notice, they're sitting there they're trying everything, and like you said, they're gonna put every news story out there. Every celebrity is gonna try to go out there. They have to try everything right now to make up for her failures because every time she opens her mouth, people dislike her more and more. If you notice, she just had that CNN town hall like the other day, yesterday, I think.
The difference is there's a lot more paths to victory for him to win. That's why I said it's like a sinking ship with too many holes to plug.
All he needs
can
is
win.
Pennsylvania. All he needs is Pennsylvania.
He actually doesn't. He can win with 283. She needs Pennsylvania. He needs Arizona or Michigan.
Yeah, to win that because. Well, I think he might take Nevada too. Is how it's looking right now. Like I was saying to Joe, he might take Nevada too. And if he takes Nevada, he can theoretically win with Nevada, Maine, and Nebraska too. If it went that way, he'd get 270.
Well, just hear me out for a minute because this is logical, and this is being generous to the other side. Okay, generous. That's why I said there's a lot more paths for him to win. Because if you give Georgia to him, okay. You give Virginia to them. You give, I think even went on to them, and you like split the states down the middle. she still needs to win one extra more state than him.
She needs to win every single Rust Belt state. She needs
Yeah,
to win. She needs to win Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. He can't just win two. He has to win all three.
He can still lose Pennsylvania, and he'll only need to win Michigan or Arizona. He wins,
or if he wins Wisconsin, he wins it too. If he wins Wisconsin, he wins it too.
Yeah. It's so much easier for him than her. And they Pennsylvania stuck there for the last 4 months. If you look at every other day, they're in Pennsylvania. They can't get out. They cannot get out of Pennsylvania.
Well, but the thing is Trump's doing it all. Like Trump's gaining more every week, every poll, every metric, as voter registration, everything. He's gaining in Pennsylvania. He's gaining momentum in Pennsylvania. And that's the bad side. As you get to the election, you want the person with the momentum. And she has no momentum right now.
No, I agree 100%, and I'm willing to even give 2 or 3 states to them on some BS. But that's why I'm saying I'm so confident, because I'm going. It's not enough. They set the groundwork for this up at the RNC when what's her name, Trump's daughter-in-law took over the RNC. What's her name?
Laura? Yeah, Laura.
I want to say Laura, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Eric's wife, right? Laura, I think, yeah.
Yeah, like ever since that happened, they just hit the ground running. And that was like over a year and a half ago that they've been changing all these laws at the state legislators and you know, and then they got lazy the other side. And then a month before voting day, now they're all going all over the place trying to make up lost time, and it's not enough. You saw Obama in Michigan a couple of days ago, and I think Mikey Balls was covering it on his channel. We were all having a blast laughing because she was nowhere to be found. You sent Obama into Michigan alone to defend you because you don't know what your own, talking points. You don't know, like, you go on Fox and then you say stuff like, he says, okay, tell me what your policies are. That's what everyone wants to know. She's like, go to my website. Go to my website.
And let me finish.
Well, she just babbles whenever she speaks. She has the worst. She literally is the worst orator of anyone. Like, she babbles and she looks like she's on like Xanax and vodka because she doesn't. Well, but she does. She looks like she's on some kind of like antidepressant with alcohol because she rambles, and if you notice, she like looks off into space when she's answering and stuff. She looks off like she's thinking about something, but nothing's going through.
Yeah.
It's very strange. No, and I think that the thing is, the Democrats know it too. There was an article in some newspaper today. Was it Variety? I think, or magazine Variety. I think it said, "Was Biden the right candidate all along?"
There's three. There's another major threat to them. It's Robinson in North Carolina. He just came out with a lawsuit.
Yeah, but they don't care about $50 million. If they can pay $50 million to make sure he doesn't win, that's all they care about. And they made it so he can't win.
Well, that lawsuit's also for optics.
You think
you would in theory?
You think Robinson's not going to win?
No, I think that killed him. That killed him. That's why Trump didn't. Yeah, that's why Trump didn't campaign with him or anything. He would have, because that would have helped his blackmail demographic, and he didn't even. Yeah, I think he's going to lose.
Well, actually, he's still at a statistical tie in North Carolina right now.
I thought he was like 5 or 6 points behind. Actually, isn't he like 5 or 6 points behind?
Well, that's what makes it a statistical tie. He's like 4 points behind, I believe. And so when you look at the,
I
think
guess
he's going to win.
I just don't see it. I mean, I just still think everybody nowadays is, especially it's more Southern people, more conservative people are like, oh, I don't want to be associated with someone that goes on some, sexual forum and all that. It's just kind of a, it would just, even if it's not true, it's just one of those things. And I don't think they want that.
It was the Ku Klux Klan comments that he made in his Tinder profile. That's causing.
Yeah.
But where I was getting at real quick before I jump.
Whatever. They all have something kind of crazy.
Sorry for taking over the show, Joe, in that regards. But to what you were saying.
Oh, it's good. It gives me a chance to play with the. I'm playing with the chats on these different streaming platforms to see what's what.
Well, the thing is the Democrats are bringing up. Usually, what they'll do when they're flailing the way that they are is they'll bring their closer, their pinch hitter. Before it was the Clintons, then it was Obama. They brought out Obama a couple of weeks ago, and I posted this on my X profile when you get a chance to look at it, Joe. It's Obama basically chastising black men. Oh, you guys don't like voting for a woman, and I'm like, who the hell are you? You're not our father. I mean, that's the first thing that I'm thinking when I heard that. And I'm like, if I'm thinking that and I'm more of a middle of the road guy, the black people that are more rebellious, they're really going to have problems. And sure enough, they had problems with it. It's like the Democrats open their mouths, insert foot every single time. And it's the first time I've seen them do that in my lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah, TT talked about it on his channel, and I was on that day. I got on that day when he talked about it. So
yeah. They need
a smokes, dude. This is so random, but I mean, everyone knows that Tim Pool had that meltdown the other day. Jeremy from the Quartering is scooping up the talent. I knew that he got Hannah Claire Brimelow. She starts on Monday. Luke Brodowski is now jumping over to the Quartering.
Also, really was real. Dude. I thought it was a big old thing too. I didn't think it was like actually a.
Well, go ahead.
He didn't know how to set up his computer. I don't know how to set up OBS or any of that stuff. I mean, I just do what I do. But again, Tim's
people who are calling it out as business failures are absolutely right. This is for the ate up and stupid stuff the military does. Any military leader, there's a reason why 1 in 3 Fortune 500 companies has a military leader, veteran leader rather, in the C-suite. And that's because just basic planning principles, knowing that your plan is going to not survive first contact, knowing that 1 is none, 2 is 1. There's no way. As a low-budget podcaster, I have 2 computers. I think I have 3 cameras. This ridiculous USB hub that's like $300. I have 2 of them. There's one in the closet. You have to know that these things happen. So when you run your gear, like I ran my gear earlier today and it didn't work. So I troubleshoot. Is that even a word? Troubleshooted? I did the troubleshooting.
Yeah, troubleshoot.
Yeah, got it back up. There's no reason why someone who's pulling in at least, I think we had determined at least $500K a month, shouldn't have.
He's bringing in the amount of money every month.
Yeah. There's no reason that an organization like that shouldn't have their whoops, I just noticed that the other dude's gone. Shouldn't have their Mr. Mister. Thanks for coming on, Mr. Mister. Shouldn't have that stuff dialed in. They should have graphics cards on standby. They should have cameras. They should have, everything. Stream Deck, soundboards. Yeah. They should have a whole other studio.
He's a skateboarder. He ran it like a skateboard shop.
Yep. He hired all of his friends who smoke weed and drink and wake up. I'll be honest. I had Ian Crossling on the show. Not to say that he does those things. He probably does. But I had him on my music channel, and it was a little bit tough getting him scheduled because of flakiness and things like that. And guys, that's not how you do business. You do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. You show up. And Matt Christensen, the reason that he's kind of, blonde quit, but the reason that he is not amenable to taking her back ever is because he said, 1, there's been a breach of trust that is irredeemable, but 2, you have to do what you say you're going to do. And their deal when they quit their jobs was, we are doing the stream at this time on these 2 days unless we're dead, period. And that's how you have to be when you're running a business, period.
Can I be honest, though, Joe? Can I be honest really quick?
Yeah, shoot.
He got into business with the girl. Do you really think she's going to stay committed? Like, it's always, whether it be, I got pregnant, or, I'm on my ist, or I have a headache, whatever. They're always going to make excuses, Joe. It just is what you can't go into.
I like Blonde. I like Rebecca. I enjoyed her content on the show.
I'm not saying I don't like her.
I will say that I never watch her solo channel. I never watch it.
But Joe, I'm not saying I don't like them. That's irrelevant. I'm just pointing out a consistency. Like, I'm not saying whether I like them or not. That's not the issue. You can't put your trust and especially like a monetary investment like that into one. It's just they're not going to hold up. They're going to at some time, and I'm not saying they're bad for it. It's just they're not meant for that kind of like consistent pressure and consistent, like competition all the time. That's all. I mean, and I've seen her on Tim a couple times. She's like very like quasi aggressive, but the thing is like she's like that. Nobody challenges her. Nobody's sitting there and actually challenging her. Like, they all treat her like a cute little girl that's still like, oh, when she goes, let her act tough, let her be, it's cute, but she's not getting like actual pushback. And that's the thing. Like, I don't know, Joe. I just think this is just another, like, I'm glad they're doing well. That's fine. I mean, I'm happy they have a good community and they're making, a good living and stuff, but that's not really like my interest, that community. That's very like elementary on what they're doing, what they're talking about, Joe. Like,
yeah, there's not a lot of proper form. There's not a lot of rebuttals
like, you have
or challenges.
You have it more run here. You have a better well-run here, Joe. Like, it's a shit show over there. I'm sorry to say. Like, it's like I'm looking at like a stoner room or something over there. Like, the way they look is like how Joe Rogan was in his early days. Remember, they had like a camera on one person, like on Eddie Bravo on one side, and like Joe on the, they had 4 cameras like we have right now, and 4, on one on each of them in the studio. Like, they're beginning. That's how they are over there. Like, I don't know. That's how it seems to me. It just seems like they ran it like, oh, we started getting, real good access and the money was coming in, and we're just going to be complacent and sit there and not do any better and just rake it in and just, lay back. It's all gravy now. And it's never like, nothing stays like that. You have to, when times are good, you have to genuinely save up because it's never going to be good all the time. You have to make tertiary plans.
Well, I'm looking at Mr. Mister's comment, and I would agree with what he said, that he forgot the original intent of the show, but I would go further. I don't think it's that he forgot, because sometimes the show just changes. It's just, you create your own thing, and if it takes off, it turns into its own monster. Steve Jobs said something like that when they founded Apple, back when I was in diapers. You have this one idea, and the next thing you know, a couple of years later, you're like, okay, what the hell happened? Because let's be honest, Tim Pool didn't blow up until Joe Rogan. And then when he was on going after Jack Dorsey and Vijay Gadde from Twitter back in the day, from Twitter back in the day, that made his numbers grow up even more. And then he exploded just like any other podcaster exploded in 2020 because of the beer flu. Everybody was at home. There was nothing else to watch. Let's watch this. Oh, this is great. You got a sub and you got super chats. And when that happens, I mean, it's great. You have a great format. You have great shows, things like that. But again, they just change, and that's what's happened. I saw the beginning of those changes when Sour Patch Lydia, I think, when she left, and then when
Sour Patch Lids, pour some out for Lydia.
Yes,
yeah,
the Trad wife, and Adam Krigler when he left in epic meltdown proportions.
That was some nasty stuff.
It was bad. It was bad. But that's when I started
seeing. Wasn't the long-haired blonde guy with glasses always getting in arguments with him too, and then he left and came back or something?
Yeah, that was Adam.
Did he come back though? Didn't he come back recently or something?
I didn't.
He has his own show.
Oh, yeah, I don't think he's.
I don't know.
Tim Pool doesn't know how to run a business. He also, Tim Pool is, it's funny because he talks about midwits a lot. I think he's decently intelligent, but he's not as well reasoned. A lot of his ideas aren't sound. They're logical, but there's not sound. There's an essential flaw there. Hearing him talk about it all the time, when he said, it's impossible. It's impossible to hire a manager. It's impossible to hire an executive because anyone who could do it would be doing it. That analysis is so flawed. Case in point, I absolutely could run a company like that. Would I? They're 45 minutes down the road. Would I run that company? No, I would not. But I absolutely could. I think your guys' audio just cut out. Is that me? Am I? I don't know. I can hear you.
No, I'm just muted.
It'd be like running a hippie coven over there.
Yeah, but it is not. It is not true that everyone who could do it, there are situations like mine, and even different situations. I don't do debt. If I did do debt, I was talking to Samantha about this the other day. If I did debt with very little investment, with a loan of $60,000, I could probably transform this show into something very different than it is, with a very modest marketing push and that kind of thing. I don't do debt of any kind for any reason. I'm like Dave Ramsey on crack. I'm saving cash to buy a house. That's like how. I make a decent amount of money, a very decent amount of money. I'm not a top 1%er, but no, I'm not going to.
We heard all your equipment you were naming off earlier. We know you're rich, Joe.
With 5 kids at 35 years old, I am not in the risk window to go and start some fledgling whatever. Like, that is what you do, and that's one of the things. That's one of the reasons that they really tell you that the military is a service. My young years, where I could be more speculative and take more risk, and my wife as well, we gave to the nation via service in the United States Army. So no, as a 35-year-old, I can't go do this speculative bullcrap. But you can easily find management for an organization like Timcast. The reason that his coffee shop is failing, the reason that all of these tertiary and ancillary projects that he's tried are failing is because of him and him alone, because he has not gotten the proper butts and seats. He's not read any of the literature, good to great. Get Jim Collins' book. He's not read The Energy Bus. Any of these things, a basic business consultant could have solved these problems. And he's complaining on the internet that it's failing, and he's not saying it's my fault. It's my inability to motivate and lead the people around me and to bring in the right talent is what's caused it to fail. So instead, he says it's impossible. That's what a child does.
I wouldn't say.
And then on camera, he melts down like a little girl. You know what I mean? It's like, how mature is that a leader melting down like that? You know,
it's not like he couldn't get his way, so he threw a temper tantrum, and then he's gonna figure it out afterwards. Literally, like a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old.
Yep.
I don't think I wouldn't necessarily say that they're failing. I mean, good Lord, he's making a Ferrari amount of money every month. That's me. That's not failing.
Yeah.
But he will eventually if he keeps doing what he's doing. I mean, that doesn't stay that way. And Joe, really quick, how old are your kids? How old are they? Like, how old's your oldest?
They're 10 to 5 months.
Okay, 8 more years, Joe, and you got a bunch of little, free workers to get you to do things all you want. You got to put them to work now, Joe.
Oh, yeah,
Starting at 8,
I already
like
do.
The farmers do. Clean the house.
I already do. My 10-year-old is learning how to edit video right now.
There you
right
go,
now.
Joe.
He's
That's what I'm saying. You're gonna have 5 little helpers just all around. You just gotta wait till they get old enough. You gotta be like old school like that, Joe. That's why they had 8 and 10 kids back in the days. They wanted a bunch of little people to take care of them.
Come on, Imperious. Would a 5-month-old at 10 months old be able to understand what he's saying? I mean, Joe Mobley would be like, "Hey, little tyke here. I need you to go ahead and get Daddy this camera." I mean, come on, man.
No, they're 10, 8, 6, 3, and 5 months.
The 10, 8, and 6, you can get them to do stuff probably.
And Imperious Joe's got this. Joe knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he's the man.
Yeah, I'm just going slow and steady, and because I suffer from wrong think, I you know, I get knocked down and have to start back from zero. I mean, and the reason that I'm even still doing the show in less than 24 months. So that first 10 months, the show didn't make any money. But I want to say month 11 to like 20 something, pulled in near 30K. It sucked. I was working like a madman. And I was traveling and doing speaking engagements. I said yes to everything like an entrepreneur should. But when YouTube knocked me down and then took my channel down, and then 2 other things happened, I was like, son of a gun. And if I kept driving through, I would have been better off than I am now. But I put the show on pause for 8-10 months while I was at Deloitte. Which that's a story. That's a drinking story right there. My time at Deloitte.
I had a frat brother that went and worked for Deloitte after college. Oh my God.
Yeah, I was a manager there. That kind of tells you what my strata is for income. I was a manager at Deloitte, and it was.
Yeah.
See, Joe thinks he's all smart. Look at him, everyone. He's just bragging about money. Look at how unbecoming of a Protestant.
He's been a
Look at him.
manager,
The Protestants are supposed to be anti-money. They always blame us about showing money all the time.
I could say that I give away well above 10% of my money to the church and other charities.
Yeah. Well, you can't beat the Mormons. They're required to take 30%. So.
Yeah, Mormons are devout.
That's what I mean. They'll take everything. They're willing slaves, dude. They want it. You know. I think they're into masochism a little bit.
Well, look, guys, I am not going to go past 11, so let's go around and everyone say some last words. We can go a minute or two past 11, but who wants to go first?
I'll go first since I'm always the one that has to initiate everything. You know, Joe, some of the topics, we got to be a little bit more happy, Joe. It's Friday night for me. I didn't see the happiness in your eyes this evening, Joe. That sparkle was gone.
It'll be there tomorrow. It'll be there tomorrow stream. I'll pop up.
I heard it was something to do with traffic, Joe. Was that the issue that traffic?
Oh, dude, work this week was a total nightmare. Like the whole entire thing. Well, Joe, I mean, if I'm honest, never mind. I won't say that on the internet. I'll tell you on Discord, Imperious. I'll tell you what I did at 3:00 today, because I was so over it.
Well, growing up in Southern California, we have an old saying there. Whether it go 1 mile or 10, it's gonna take an hour. So, Joe, you got to plan. 3 hours ahead, Joe. I used to have to work like 50 miles from my house. Every day, each way was about 2.5 hours, Joe. Every day. So I understand.
Too far.
So I understand, Joe. And it's not even that big of a distance. It's just that there's just too many people, or there was. I don't know. Is there? And it's, dude. I mean, in Florida, it's getting like that some places, But I'm telling you, man, traffic, there's a reason why it causes so much violence. It's, you're not meant to just sit there in little boxes in the heat and just, not seeing anything and just being stuck and trapped somewhere like little rats. It's not a fun feeling. So I sympathize a little bit,
Traffic.
So, yeah. Well, anyways, guys, it was a good conversation, Joe. I'm glad the lady left so we could have a man talk here, about a little bit more things, because
outspoken Samantha is a saint.
She's nice. No, that's the thing. She looks like a saint. She looks like a sister at church or something. You can't say much around her. She's always got those judgy look.
What are you talking about?
She's got that judgy look. Always judging, always watching. Making sure you're on towing the line.
I've said plenty of deplorable things around Samantha.
No. I was trying to talk. She just seems very, very secretive about herself and doesn't, want to, say what she's really thinking a lot of the time.
The internet.
It's the internet.
It's the internet, dude. She's not going to be out here bearing her soul and
Joe, I'm bearing my soul out to you right now, Joe. I'm bearing my soul out to you, Joe. We're all
Do
very
I sense some simping here? You know, she's a married
No, I'm
woman.
saying we're no, there's no simping. No. She's too old for me, Joe. She's I couldn't deal with that. I couldn't deal with that. That would be that's like, come on. I can afford a little bit. But she seems like a very nice lady. It's just I need someone who can just laugh a little bit and be a little bit. I like the girls that are dancing around in like sundresses and are just smiling all the time and just bubbling.
So as we land this plane, you want this married woman to be dancing around in a sundress? Okay.
No. I'm just saying, Joe. No, I don't want her to do anything. She's married.
Samantha, if you're listening, I do not desire that you dance in anything on the show.
I'm not desiring her. I'm just saying that's like I like the girl. Like nice mid-20s girl. That's just smiling all the time and. About 5'7", 5'8", just a happy, a girl that has no worries in the world. That's where we got to go with this.
All right, let's go over to James.
All right, Joe. I'll talk to you later, Joe.
That was
I gotta go. I gotta have another beer. I'll talk to you later.
Later, Imperious. I guess my final words are thank you for letting me up here, Joe, and all y'all out there in the chat, and everyone, period, just have a good one and everything.
Awesome.
So, that's all I was say.
Same sentiments. Thank you for inviting me up, Joe. The conversation with yourself and Samantha was extremely enlightening. Thank goodness there was some sanity on the internet this evening. With that said, all three of you guys stay safe, stay blessed, and everybody in the chat stay blessed.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for being here. Thanks to everyone in the audience. Guys, if you want to support the show, you can always check out my website, which is not on the screen because it's showing the wrong tertiary display. There we go. You can go to thejoemobley.com. You'll be met with that wonderful face there, and you can hit the shop. So, of course, you can become a member. You can donate, and you can hit the Cash App. It's the Joe Mobley on Cash App. But instead of just getting nothing for your money, you can get some merch. We got all kinds of saucy T-shirts. My favorite one right now is this "Make Elections Great Again" crossword puzzle. This is my personal favorite that I'm wearing around town because that's what we got to do. And as we are ushering in the fall months, you can get all of your favorite T-shirts on a cozy, comfy sweatshirt. The best sellers here are Uncloseted Conservative, and my AR-15 identifies as a stick. Some people do not realize all of the caliber shirts, the all faster than dialing 911, that's on the back of the shirt. That's on the back of the sweatshirt. That is not on the chest. So please, I've had some people order that and write me. You can see plain as day that this is the back of the sweatshirt. The Joe Mobley logo is always on your right sleeve. You'll see that it is on the left sleeve there. That's because the back of the sweatshirt is pictured. Guys, that's all I got. I will see you in the next one. Have a fantastic, I almost said weekend, but have a fantastic day. Bye.
Our founding fathers here in this country brought about the only true revolution that has ever taken place in man's history. Every other revolution simply exchanged one set of rulers for another set of rulers. But only here did that little band of men, so advanced beyond their time that the world has never seen their like since, evolve the idea that you and I have within ourselves the God-given right and the ability to determine our own destiny. But freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free. Thank you.